I was thinking about when my child died, hearing from others that experienced loss, that the second year was much worse. And that really terrified me because I could not imagine anything being worse than her dying in that first year and not being sure if I would survive the pain and getting through that. But I would hear it all the time, and it really did scare me what was to come, to the point where when we hit the second year anniversary, I was in a place of denial. And I probably spent a good 6 months in denial and pretending like I was okay, because I did not want to experience the possibility of a pain worse than that first year. And for me, it wasn't worse. It was just different. It's the shock going away and the reality settling in that your child is no longer here. And each year that you live will be a year away from when you last held them. And that's really painful to realize. But I just wanted to share that because a lot of people will say the second year, and maybe it is harder for them, but when your child dies, that pain that you first experience and the darkness that you were in that first year and the feelings that you might not make it are really, really difficult. I even had someone that was in our lives for 8 years die the day before the second year anniversary of Sophia's death. And that was an interesting experience because he asked me to be the one to make sure that he had the medications so that he wouldn't suffer in the end, because he knew that I was strong enough because I did it for my daughter. And I was there for his last breaths, and it was like I was reliving my daughter's death in those moments. And only difference was this time I was able to stay and to be there until they took him away, which I was unable to do for my daughter because the pain after she died, it was like I just lost all the strength that I had carried for her, and I could no longer be there after I laid next to her for a little bit. And I left and I locked myself in the room because I don't think I would have been able to deal with watching them take her out of our home. And so it was like I was reliving that moment, but having the opportunity to stay with someone and be there in a way that I couldn't for my daughter. And so the next day was the 2-year anniversary. So I think I was in a bit of shock from his death and kind of reliving my daughter's death. And so I just pretended that I was okay when I was not okay. So I spent the first 6 months of the second year just pretending to be okay, not even allowing myself to dive into my grief because I was so fearful of what people said about the second year being worse. And when I finally kind of let that pretending go, I realized what they meant about the second year. It's just a lot of sadness, a lot of quiet. The people go away, the checking in goes away, and just the shock wears off. And you just realize that this is what life will be. And when you lose a child, no matter how long it's been, there's always going to be a return of grief and this darkness that you struggle with and you have to pull yourself out of. The longer it goes from the anniversary, I think the less that darkness and struggle comes, but it still returns. And I just want parents to know that it is hard and it's going to be the hardest thing you live with for the rest of your life, but it is survivable. So if there are any parents that have questions, that are experiencing it, that know that they will be experiencing it, my messages are always open and I will always make time for you and answer your questions and be there if you need it.